What's going on, guys? It's Adam P and welcome back to more Newcastle United news. Of course, we are playing West Ham this weekend, which means overnight stay vlog will be out on the channel tomorrow. Of course, we'll bring the series back in a bit of a twist. So with the new series now in the UK, we've been a bit more personal, answering questions, and I'm telling you my personal experiences that I've had as a Newcastle United fan, going to all these away matches. What places do I despise? What places do I like? What bad experiences have I had with individuals, or what's been going on with opposition fans, and we're going to get to all of that. So straight up, before we, of course, make that video tomorrow, if you guys have got any questions you'll personally like answered, or just anything you guys want to know about Newcastle, or just anything you want from me, let me know down below in the comments section. But of course, we are here to get through the Newcastle United news in this video. Get through the big news from the press conference first, and the unfortunate annoyance that Yoane Wissa will still be far off from returning. It's been described that he will not be back this weekend. He will not be back for his second scheduled date. It was stated at first that he could potentially be back with Brighton away. Hasn't happened. It's then been stated that he could have been potentially back for around this weekend. Again, hasn't happened, and it's now been put to the end of November. And if you even comes back in time, which might not be a possibility because it's been deemed more match fitness now rather than the actual injury that's been sustained. Even if he comes back at the end of November, he got a couple of weeks out of him, and then the African Cup of Nations. So in my personal opinion, you're going to need that sit down, I feel like. We've spent serious money on this guy. He's 29 years old. He has to look at himself, and he has to look at the experience for him. This is the football club he wanted to join. Yoane, you went through all this hassle throughout the summer to join Newcastle, and now you asked for the number 9 shirt. You have the number 9 shirt. You need to give back to this football club. I know the African Cup of Nations is a huge opportunity for you, but it's a big balance. It's a massive balance, and in my personal opinion, he has to be picking the club here. He needs to be given back to Newcastle as well. I think if he was to go out to the African Cup of Nations and you look at a potential injury again, DR Congo, I would say it's their fault, by the way, because he's played twice in 3 days, 90 minutes, 90 minutes. We've just thrown him in twice in 3 days, and he's got injured after the second game. So I would argue DR Congo also need to look at themselves as well, because I don't think Yoane Wissa has been properly utilised. I don't think he's been well looked after. So for me, African Cup of Nations, he has to stay at Newcastle. He needs to stay here. He needs to deliver for us. I get he probably won't want to do that, but we need a performance. We need this guy to play for us. So in my personal opinion, tough love. We need to give this guy some tough love and make sure he plays for this football club. And William Osula will not be going anywhere in January. His worth has been shown to Newcastle this season. I'm going to give him credit. He's looked good when he's came on. He's looked good in the Premier League when he's came on as well. Not just the cup games. When you look at a team like Bradford City, of course, got the 2 goals in that game. You would expect those sort of performances from him. I think in the Premier League, he's looked sharp. He's just something different. He's a different striker than Nick. He comes on, adds a different dynamic to the team. Even if he's not scoring or assisting, him running in behind and just being a bit of a nuisance is different for Newcastle's team. And you know what? Yeah, I agree with this. He should stay. And I'm hoping he'll score a few more goals this season and start to develop into this player we all know deep down he has the capabilities to be able to do. I'm happy with that. And in terms of the Newcastle United news, before we talk about the AC Milan stuff, just an update from my video yesterday regarding the training ground ban. So if you haven't had a chance to do so, make sure you go back and watch that video so you fully understand what is going on at Newcastle United's training ground. But Craig Hope has now added a big story saying that earlier in the week during the half-term holiday, a Newcastle United player, a senior player in the first team who has not been named, drove out the training ground, and it was a near miss on a child. So because of someone misbehaving, it's been described that this child as well was an autograph hunter. So you would imply by that it's someone that goes on a frequent basis, and without naming names or pointing the finger anywhere, probably someone that's put themselves in that situation rather than a Newcastle United player potentially hurting someone. So yeah, because of that, Newcastle United has then issued that statement and been firm, absolutely no go, do not go to the training ground. So that's the story that's came out now. Just before we get into the AC Milan stuff, of course, if you guys are new around here, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the journey, make sure you stay updated so you don't miss out on any upcoming YouTube videos, because of course Champions League next week at St James's Park, and it's going to be non-stop from here on out. And I wanted to direct this particular video towards the AC Milan, I guess, fan reaction to everything that's going on at Newcastle United. It's been a bit of a weird thing with Newcastle and Milan over the last few years anyway, because before we even signed Sandro Tonali, we had a bit of a thing over Botman because we were trying to sign Botman from Leo. AC Milan was also trying to sign Botman from Leo. It was a bit of a back and forth between two clubs where Botman kind of had the choice of which club he wanted to join, and he ended up picking Newcastle. And since that, it's been a real back and forth between the two teams. We then had the stuff with Tonali 12 months later, where at the time we weren't aware of it, but AC Milan was probably trying to flog him out because of the fact they were fully aware of the betting scandal going on in the background. Newcastle paid upwards of £60 million being Tonali in, got the 1 year ban, came back and has done wonders for this football club. So that's one player who's Milan through and through, youth squad, Milan fan, loves the football club, who probably didn't want to be at Newcastle initially, but had to make the move regardless, and has done amazingly well for the football club. Then Thiaw came in this summer. At the time, you're looking at Milan's third or fourth choice centre half, which is so bizarre looking back on it, because how the hell is he third or fourth choice? He's such a good centre half, and you can just see the difference in someone who has confidence, someone who has belief, and someone who just has a real good infrastructure and a good manager behind him. He's done wonders in the how, and he's class. He's so good. And you've got, when you look at our starting then, you've got Botman and Thiaw, who are two players Milan could have had, and you've got Tonali, who probably should still be at Milan if it wasn't for the betting stuff. So you can understand, perhaps in the Milan point of view, why there is a bit of frustration with Newcastle, but of course, we ended up playing against AC Milan a couple of years ago in the Champions League anyway. So it's been two clubs that I've met on previous occasions, and for whatever reason on social media, there still is a real, I would argue, a toxic and just a vicious attack almost from some Milan fans towards Newcastle. Just looking at where we are in the league table, calling us as mid-table teams, and we don't win silverware, so all these players are going to leave our football club. Just going into a lot of detail about how much they dislike Newcastle. I'm not quite understanding fully why this is here. I can understand why there might not be the biggest fans of Newcastle out there, but yeah, if I see this hatred on social media, I just want to mention this video because I wanted to just look back at the fact of how good these players actually are for Newcastle. How good is Botman, how good is Thiaw, and how good is Tonali. I think there would also maybe argue towards Newcastle as well in terms of our signings. I still think the overseas signings are certainly a step above the signings we're making in the Premier League. I think if you look at this summer as well, it's a good example, because I don't want to slag off a new signing, but you look at Elanga in terms of value, in terms of how much money you spent on him, it's a real overspend, Elanga. And I'm not saying Elanga's a bad player, because I think he will kick on for Newcastle. I think once he does score his first goal, he'll do well at his football club. But regardless of how well he does, £55 million, is he worth £55 million? Let's be honest to ourselves. No, I don't think he is. And the fact that Jake Murphy can still argue he's probably the better of the two players, Newcastle, I think, need to look back in a previous transfer windows, because I think our best deals, our best signs have all been overseas. We don't seem to get great value in the Premier League. And our best examples in the Premier League, to be fair, like to Lewis Hall, Livramento, Gordon, Pope was great value from Burnley, but again, that was a relegated team. When I look at Newcastle, all of our signings, overseas players, bringing them in, Tonali, world class, Bruno, world class, Thiaw, Botman, quality, Isak, don't want to mention it, but again, what a sign that was at the time. And when you look at the players that Newcastle brought in, we seem to have a better pool abroad. I feel like hopefully going forward, Newcastle would then have that trend and start to look to bring players in from different leagues, because certainly our Premier League track record, while we have brought some good players in, seem to be overspends. I think we've spent a lot of money in this league. I think Elanga surely should be the wake-up call for us in terms of value, because certainly for me, it's just not a great valued player to bring in. But the fact that Milan fans are so angry towards Newcastle, I would say, is a positive, especially towards Thiaw, because he's not been at this football club for long, and I feel like how well he's already developed, he's a serious player. And I have to say against Tottenham, because I think Tottenham's attacking threat, especially in the first half against Newcastle, they're a team that, despite not scoring during the week, they weren't half bad. I think the 2-0 scoreline as well made the game seem a bit easier than it was for Newcastle, because I feel like in the first half, when they had the ball in dangerous areas, Thiaw, time and time again, especially one-on-one duels. How good is he at tackling? How good is he blocking them? And just how good is he at just calming the player down and getting that big moment in? Because I think Thiaw especially easily signing so far for me. Easily the signing that we've made this summer, the best that's came in. Watermark close second. Ramsdale, to be fair, as a backup goalkeeper, is very strong as well. I think especially with the option to buy, has made the deal even better for us. Thiaw, 100% for me, is the best sign for me. 100% this summer, and then Big Nick after that. But hopefully, Wissa can get on that list soon, because I'm sick of mentioning Wissa delay. Wissa is still out, so hopefully he does actually come back in his third scheduled date this time. But in terms of news, that was about it really. I want to direct this video towards the Milan side, and just direct this video towards the players we brought in as well, because Newcastle, certainly in terms of transfers, don't tend to hit many bad signs, do we? Especially since the takeover. I think Newcastle's had an unbelievably good return the signs we brought in, but you have to credit Eddie Howe, the scouting team and the coaching team, because they seem to pick out the right players, especially the right characters. Even players like Alango haven't been great so far. Still a good character. He's still someone that's going to improve. He's still someone that wants to be better and will strive to be better. And that's what you have to credit. So hopefully we'll keep at it, and hopefully Newcastle will get the results here. West Ham's a nice game on Sunday. We'll go into more detail about it on the match itself, but West Ham, as far as the way fixture goes, it's the best. It's the best we asking for. So let's get it done against them on Sunday. Let's make sure we stop getting caught a mid-table team. We start to get those results in. And as the Premier League table starts to freshen out a bit from how up and down it's been, we'll start to see Newcastle especially pushing towards a European spot, because we need to do that. But take care, guys. Appreciate you watching. Let me know your opinions down below, and we'll see you all in the next one.